We return once more to Dominaria, where many new nations rise and tensions higher. The branches of prosperity are about to snap, as the world cascades into a new era, one with a generation to experience the horrors of war. Welcome back to Dominaria, and this time I'm with Lego.
Greetings, travelers. Welcome to this holy forest, may I say. I am a simple storyteller from the country of Zazdrost. It's a beautiful country I grew up, but here I am on this beautiful royal court of speaking to you. May the king, I thank him very much for allowing me to be here to speak to you, future generations of this beautiful country, to guide you with the stories. We will start, or as a certain nation in the certain eastern nation on the map. Rosrija, may I speak of them? During the recent years, they had great prosperity, yet on the island or east of them, rumors spread of a monster lurking and killing local fishermen. The Council of Rodreja decided to investigate said eastern uninhabited island that nobody knew on by sending in the adventuring guild. Said guild decided to create a small port there, uh, as well as conquer this territory for their nation. Meanwhile, the Council of Rodriguez decided to send more people to the island to investigate the missing people at Mr.
Rhodesia
Meanwhile,
has grown over the past few years, but they're still a small nation. They're trying their best to keep up with the world standards as it gets grimmer and grimmer in the west.
early. Polaka had recently a tragic disease struck their borders. Nobody knows how it happened, why, yet one singular person had fallen ill, and it spread. Polika had happened to be affected by mysterious disease. It happened. It happened at Nanjing, if I remember correctly.
That's the capital, yeah.
It was truly horrific. Bodies were burned to the ground. I still remember when the king of Zazdrost, my home country, had decided to lock borders because of the disease that has been spreading quickly from Polika to other neighboring nations. Due to this chaos, we enter an age of little hope for the world, as in the adventuring guild had decided to end the investigation on the island after a group of brave adventurers, heroes of their own nation, had slaughtered the monster. No people of Rodligia were safe. Truly good news finally for this world at that age. Now we enter the northern hemisphere of the world. Kay need was short on iron for the militaristic expansion that Fredonia had much of. For this, a war happened eventually between Kay and Fredonia. Fredonia is Kay. Koi. Koi.
Oh, okay. Wait. Let me just like. Okay.
As well, Fredonia asked its allies for help against Koi. Us- Usvoka that were near decided that Koi was a dangerous nation for
Oh,
their
Lego. They're in alliance.
that Kiev was a useful nation for their expansion, and Usoka decided to declare war on Fredonia as well. Meanwhile, Vicentia in Nadok decided to create an alliance to protect themselves between their aggressive neighbors.
Nadnox and who?
Vishisha, their pink one. Now we enter back to Polika. The disease had ravaged their countries. However, it had also spread to the neighboring countries of Uzvoka. Uzvoka troops were horrendously hit by the disease to the point that they couldn't continue really fighting the war.
Hold on, I know how to do this. Owen can cut this out.
Okay,
Wait, do I just like I can slow down the troops and make them fight worse? There.
okay.
Okay, there.
Probably this was blessing for Fredonia, who were really terrified of the powerful alliance of nations who wanted to kill them. Fredonia had begun a massive recruitment advertisement and campaign to bring new volunteers to their war and to hopefully defend themselves against the aggressors. Joy uh, really wanted the mine of Fleetwood in Fredonia to the point that they decided to do active hard and fast war. However, were losing really fast the land to Fredonia newly conscripted troops. It was truly a slaughter of joy. Ile was a small village that was captured by Fredonia during the war. Meanwhile, in Nadok and Vicentia, politicians got bribed by Fredonia with their iron. If they helped them in the war, they would get immense amount of land. This was enough for the alliance to help Fredonia with the aggressors. The disease had spread quickly across Joy and Julian as well. Those poor countries weren't prepared for the immense disease that happened on their lands. Truly was horrible. I remember when I was still a child. I'm sorry, my memory is kind of. Oh, it was so terrible. The disease had slaughtered millions of people. Not even millions, probably. I'm very terribly sorry. There are people at the court of the king. My memory is still foggy from this terrible time. Oh, it was terrible. Well, the war had happened. Uh, the country of the east and the recently island had small problem on the new island. As in, their monster had seemingly returned. They had decided to gather a team of the best adventurers they could. A young healer who was a local priest who just ended his holy education and decided to help the world using his knowledge of healing using herbs. A local sportsman who had really depressing life, who nearly lost his who lost his wife to the monster. A ranger who had known the path of the beast and could tame any animal he had seen. Those three decided to go to the island and slaughter the monster once for one. Upon arriving, they noticed a foreign force, a rather very strong. It was the monster. Nobody knew who it was or what it was, but the healer decided to pray as the swordsman engaged the monster. The ranger shot the eye with arrows. The healer prepared medicine for the fighters, and it all happened quickly. The monster was finally defeated by the three adventurers, and they had disappeared from this island. However, one source, one book from one of those adventurers does speak of a mysterious person that they happened to meet on the island. They don't know who he was. He was mysterious. He had been speaking to spiders. He said that he was the lonesome one. He had given them directions to where the monster was, and when they turned away, the lonesome one disappeared. Nobody knows what happened to that guy. I personally don't even believe he was real. But who knows? Who knows? Back at the war that was going actually pretty good for the new federation of Fridonia, Visenya and Nadox. Finally they could not even they could finally expand. They had been repressed by others for years now, and now they could finally show the world they're worth something. Fredonia had begun mass mobilization of soldiers from all across its lands. It was truly a good tactic, not only that, but the plague was completely devastating Polika, Uzvoka, Kjor and Julian. To the point that they lost many of their citizens and armies, where Fredonia, Visenya and Nadox were winning the war because of the plague that their enemies had not only infected, but also Polika, the neutral nation where the plague had started, had suffered the consequences as well, to the point where they suffered a major population decrease. Surely the war has been pretty bad for everyone except for the newly found Federation. Political allies had and neighbors had too infected the disease. Meanwhile, in Credonia, a brave scientist by the name of Jan Kowalski had decided to make his life mission to cure the plague. Meanwhile, back at my homeland, it was prospering to the point of conquering neighboring islands and other places. Mm. It was truly a great time for my nation that I so beloved. Yet the time would have come soon for my nation too. The plague filth from Arcadia decided that they need to invade Zazdrosh or native nation because of their natural resources and the fact that Arcadia was Arcadia who was oh yes, a certain Arcadian duke was found murdered, and all who or nation of Zadrosh was truly for me our nation wouldn't assassinate anyone. We are too proud, but the evil Arcadia had did it. We don't know why. They are just evil plague this world.
They're invading, right? Right.
I
You want Arcadia to invade, right?
yes.
Okay.
Then when I have mobilized for war, Zosish Imperium had decided to mass mobilize armies all across their territories. Truly, every person that I know was conscripted. Yet we hold on. We when we hate Arcadia, we truly hated them, and our hate prevails to this day, where the celebration lives on. Our hate never went away from Arcadia. Surely, those were the times. Back at the north, however, the world wasn't really good for the Julian, Uswocha, and Kioi. They had been losing the war hardly. Meanwhile, all of Polika neighbors had caught the plague. Jorkivia, Querson, uh, Arcadia, they had all caught the plague. For now, it was nothing, and those nations ignored it, but later it proved to be rather difficult for them as the population dramatically decreased for all of those nations due to the plague.
Do you want me to just like nerf their militaries again?
Yes, and the population too.
Well, I can't really nerf the entirety of the population,
Ugh.
so I'll just nerf the militaries.
Okay. By the way, hello lineage.
Yeah. Oh, and you can speak if you want, I guess.
Yes. So back, I don't know, back. Okay, so truly, I remember a great friend at the war with me. His name was Olen. I don't remember. He was a great guy. We served in the same division during the war against Arcadia. I truly remember this war. Here I saw many of my friends die on the battlefield. It was truly horrific.
Hello?
Yes, I am. I'm doing a small pause.
I gotta go now.
Okay.
Okay, bro.
See ya. Have
Sleep.
fun.
So back to the story. Arcadia was losing the war. We had been defeating them with all of our might. We had been corrupting them with everything we had. There were no match for our great empire. Oh,
Hold on, I'm gonna just check back up here. What the hell?
at the north, Donia, Visenya, and Nadox were winning, and Jan Kowalski was this close to develop the cure for the plague that would free the world from this terrible disease.
By the time here, Kyoj, Usvika, and Julian have all lost morale, not wanting to fight the war anymore. And Kyoj severely wanting to sue for peace, as their country is almost on the verge of collapse.
Rolly. The Kyo, like you said, wanted peace, yet, but something happened in Fredonia. A small change of heart. Fredonia had decided to vassalize Kioi, but on the fact that Kioi will now pay their tribute.
This would eventually get Fredonia out of the war with Usvika and Julian, just leaving the two brothers to fight them.
Truly, my friend. Truly, it was a pretty, no, not great time for Nadox and Visenya, who were left alone. They decided that they need to mobilize fast, so they decided to conscript additional units in the army. Now back at Olgrodus Empire, we were doing actually pretty good against the aggressors. It was truly a good time for us. The small port city we eventually captured proved essential to do another invasion on our enemies. as you can see on the map, we were doing actually pretty good against the aggressors. Still, we had recruited more armies and were actually pushing the aggressors out. I don't remember what they did, but I think our enemies decided to mobilize even their children, which is truly cruel.
Arcadia would set up any defenses they could to defend their capital, trying to fend off the invasions, yet it proved somewhat futile.
Really, my friends. But what can you say? What can you say? Our glorious empire, as always, was shining as an example of power and might. After a while, Arcadia was exhausted, or our glorious empire were exhausted too. We had both decided to sign peace for a while. Now back at the north. Back at the north. You know, I actually had family in Fredonia 2 years before the war. I don't really know what happened to them. But Jan Kowalski from Fredonia finally created the cure for this terrible disease. He had redistributed it across Chioi, Fredonia, Bithynia, and Nadox, so they would be immune to the disease, where their enemies wouldn't be immune for the disease.
You want me to cure all the nations?
Except for Uspoka, Julhia i Polka, i Jarkiowa, i Teverion, i... Okay, just cure Fredonia, Kijów, Bithynia i Nadox.
Alright, so just these four are cured?
Yes.
Alright.
And this was the world we have to live in. This is truly the world. We are living, breathing inside of it. Now for Quersion. If I remember correctly, Quersion was a theocracy of a major religion at the time. Yet they had fallen to a rather unfortunate news when a schism happened at the city of Madness, at the city of Madness. The Madness.
Which one was
This one.
Oh, Madness, okay.
A schism happened there that made into a very violent rebellion. People decided that they shall no longer be ruled by Quertion and their pope, and had elected their own pope. They had named themselves Corin. They immediately declared war on Quertion and decided to ask Portia and Dior to help them. But we're
Portia and Dior are part of the same alliance as Arcadia. Do you want to bring Arcadia in?
yes.
Alright.
It was truly a total war. Many warhammers were used in those war additionally. Warhammers became the popular weapon at that time. I still remember when I owned my own Warhammer in this total war. The world was at war right now. Our glorious nation of Zazdrość decided to jump in and surprise attack Arcadia we are to destroy their enemies once again. Now back to Rhodesia and to their Iceland. They had too suffered from the war. Their profits were hurt quite a lot due to the war just destroying different trade routes that were supplying Rhodesia. This was truly a bad time for their economy.
Can we end this war up here real quick?
Yes.
Alright.
In the north, Fredonia, Visenya, and Nadox were doing pretty good against their enemies to um the point that Fredonia founded a lot of salt mines in the newly conquered territories that boosted their economies because salt was valuable to this, and is to this time.
Peace? Question mark?
No, I mean like Fredonia get more money because they found salt.
Yeah, I can't really boost the economy right now, so
Okay. And just like, can you boost their troops or something? I don't know, population.
Owen will probably do like images or something. I don't know.
Okay. Owen, good job.
All right.
Back to the story. The war was truly horrific. Many people died in due to this war. We will just have to see how will it turn out at the end. How will it turn out?
After many years, the oldest city in the entire world, Dakadni, was conquered by the Zodslits, making Arcadia lose almost nearly all hope in the war.
And that was good. We truly had shown the Arcadians that they do not belong to this world. As you can see, I don't like them. They're truly, if you ask me, Arcadians are kind of assholes. They never cannot take a joke.
Eventually, after the capturing of the city of Lugon, Arcadia would cut all ties with their allies and sue for peace with any faction willing to accept.
Minus that we didn't choose peace. We needed to destroy Arcadia, and this was the only option to guarantee world safety. Oh, I remember those times. Me and the boys, Jimmy, he died when he was like 20 from explosive diarrhea. Tommy, he died too. Zdrada, she was a good woman, good girl, but she died later at the battle. But me and my companions were at that war. I to this day remember where Acadia was totally crushed by our forces. Meanwhile, in the south, the nation of Dior and the nation of Ionia had decided to a little expand, forming an additional alliance with it with each other to protect or themselves. Now back to the north. The Juhilian extremists realize that they are losing the war and decide to launch multiple civil wars in Nadok. Civil war.
Yeah, hold on. You have to do the generate families button first.
Okay. The nation of Nadox was divided. The Juhilian plot had succeeded. Let's just hope. Let's just hope that Nadok would succeed in their civil war. Meanwhile, Fridonia realized that Neustrian were just a Juhilian puppet, and it would be dangerous to have them around. So Fridonia declared war on Neustrian. The last of Nadok's royal family decided to evacuate to Fridonia. There, the civil war was succeeding, and they lost all hope. Fridonia, realizing that they might not win, decided to by force vassalize Visenya and pull from the war. Meanwhile, Rodriguez decided to sign a alliance with Fridonia to guarantee their safety on the islands. Now, let's observe the world war that happened, because as soon as Julian won the war, they decided to support Corin. That means that Neustrian, Usfaka, and Julian decided to invade Quarsion.
Wait, nice try. I forgot, yeah. Allied. Now. Invite him.
Yes. Let's just observe how the war went from now. The Corinthianism was crushed by Quercian theocracy. The last members of the rebellion were executed on stage. It was truly a hideous to look at sight. but the war continued. Suddenly, after a, after the disease had brought every nation except for Fredonia and its vassals, the world decided it's enough of war. We need to unite to find a cure. And the cure was invading Fredonia. All nations, except for Rhodesia, who decided to be neutral, decided that Fredonia, who didn't want to give them the cure for the plague, will have to be eradicated. Holinka, Juchrian, Uswoka, Neutrian, Quershon, Joanna, and Zazdroś Imperium decided to invade Fredonia. Meanwhile, Croatia decided to cut diplomatic ties with Fredonia and end the alliance.
Okay, before I do anything, okay, so is the world war in the center ending between?
Yes,
Okay,
they are declaring war on Fredonia because they don't want to give them the cure.
can I fix the borders, please?
Yes, do it. It's pain in my eyes too.
That looks like good enough. All right,
You
so
have congrats, you have created the Soviet borders of local minorities.
okay, so Zozlitz,
Yes,
Usvika, Neustern, and Julician, and then
yes, yes, they too.
anybody else?
No,
Okay.
now like just observe the war. Meanwhile, in Rhodesia, a new kind of food was developed. Apparently, by heating up corn seed, they could develop a very tasty snack. They decided to name it Rochland after the island that the monster was in. It's Rochland is a very tasty snack, I must say. I'm a personal fan of it. But back to the war. Let's observe how it went, my dear friends. Byzantia had fallen. It had been conquered by Neurusian aggressors. Meanwhile, Fredonia, realizing that they are kind of screwed, decided to surrender and find peace, releasing the cure to the world and making the plague go away.
Okay, no, let me edit all the quality goes fine. Okay.
And
All right, there we go.
this is where my tale ends, friends. It was truly a good time telling you the story of my young. But every day I'm getting older now. Yesterday was my 50, 50th birthday or something around it like that. I lost track of time a long time ago. Uh, Well, that's all I wanted to tell you. Thank you.
All right, does this mean like you gotta go or something?
No,
All right. So what should what should we do for like? Do you want to end it here?
kind of. Like, it's a good place for other people to do it, but also it leaves, like, like my character story, and additionally it like shows the adventures someone could use. By the way, it's still recording, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna just have Owen cut this part out.
Okay, but like, by the way, you're gonna post on unedited and edited, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna post the unedited.
Okay, so like, next person in line, remember I set up you with the monster. You can use Rodriguez and the monster. Like, pro tip, if you are you need you don't have no idea what the hell to do, just Bob run.
And with that, we will be ending the session next time. I don't know. We'll be picking up. His name is I don't know. He will be picking up and doing the world after the Great Wars.
I don't know. Holy shit, I don't know.
See you guys
Holy
next
shit.
time.
Bye.